in this season, because I know this season has been a lot.
To say the least, yes.
Reality TV journey been?
So this was my first bout with reality TV. I don't think I ever actually saw myself venturing into this world. Obviously, I watched reality TV like most of us. I'm from the Atlanta area, so I watched Atlanta Housewives. I was into, Basketball Wives and, the VH1 shows and all of that. And I love the Real World. Okay, growing up, that was my show. I love the Real World. So I always knew about the world and the culture, but I didn't really ever see it for myself. And so then when Potomac first started, we call this area the DMV, the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. And Potomac is a part of the DMV. So when they brought a show to the DMV, I was like, okay, they didn't call me? Like I was sitting here cute and moisturized, and they did not call Candiace.
Yes, moisturized.
Yes. So I was like, wait a minute, like this is a show that I could be a part of. It's women who are witty and cheeky and a little shady, but they're funny and they're cute, and it's about friends and girlfriends and I'm all about girlfriends and kikiing and a little bit of drama here and there, honey, and a little bit of shade. I'm all about that. Yes.
Get it all in.
I'll give you just sprinkle a little bit of that in there. Yes. So I said, Lord, if this is for me, let it be for me. And literally the next season, I think so season 1 happened, season 2 happened. After season 2 is when I was like in prayer, like, Lord, let this be for me. And literally I received a call because Bravo is always casting. They're always casting for the show. And they finally got around to little old Candiace, and I auditioned, and boom, here I am. So it's been a journey. And in my wildest dreams, I never saw the journey getting to this place where we are in season 5.
Yeah.
Never in infinity years did I see it getting here. But prior to the season, it's been fun, and it has done what it has needed to do. I think that anyone who comes into the reality television world needs to come into it with a plan, and not just, all willy-nilly, just hanging out and airing out your dirty laundry for no reason, honey. If you're going to give them your business, you need to get some business about yourself. Amen. So I was very adamant and very, very steadfast about setting goals for myself. And I've been able to accomplish those. I will be seen on Netflix, Family Reunion on Netflix in the coming months when they are able to finish their season and air. I just wrapped a Christmas film for BET. I'm working on music. I'm hoping to give you all a little EP project situation at the top of the year. So it's the reality TV world can work for you if you put it to work. And I have put it to work and really tried to use it to better myself and to get my name out there in a positive way. And for that, it has been worth it.
Okay, well, that's good that you're able to kind of expand on the brand, because that really should be the goal of everybody. Once you get that platform, you got to utilize it.
Got to use it. Yes, you have
so,
to.
Candiace, how's your mental doing? Because I know, this was probably about a year ago now, but I'm sure seeing it can be triggering.
On the 16th, yes.
I'm sure seeing it can be triggering all over again. How's your mental state?
My mental state is honestly all over the place. I think that especially in the Black community, and we are in Mental Health Awareness Month, so I think it's important to talk about, I'm glad you asked that question about our mental health. Yeah. And for me, it was traumatic. The entire experience has been traumatic, not just the physical altercation, but everything that's taken place in the aftermath, the cyberbullying, the attacks, the threats, all at the hands of someone who just can't help themselves. And they just, people that just have to try and rewrite narratives and rewrite history. And it's been really emotionally taxing. It's been very hard. There are days when I think I'm okay, I think I'm good, and then something will drop on the floor and I'll jump, and I just have all this anxiety about just the unpredictability of it. waking up every day and not knowing, okay, what's the new lie or the new spin or the new story going to be? What's the new clip that's going to be shown that people are going to take and spin and twist? What new version of a fairy tale is that other camp over there going to conjure up from the depths of hell? So that all just, it doesn't sound, I don't know if it doesn't sound as hard as it is, but it really, I can't believe that I'm still here. Like, I haven't just like fallen into a pit and just not come up out of it. That's how I feel a lot of days. It's not been easy. It hasn't been easy.
It doesn't sound like it. And I'm sure, people on the outside looking in can say, oh, it was only this, this, and this. But it's like, not only do you live it, but like I said, you're having to relive it all over again. And multiple now for times. The complete world to see.
Right. Yeah, I think that part of it too, people forget that they are watching TV. And, I say this all the time, most of the trolls who like to tap dance in my mentions and in my timeline wouldn't last 2 minutes in my shoes, in my Uggs today. I'm in my Uggs today.
Listen, it's getting a little breezy.
Okay, right, it's getting a little chilly out here. They wouldn't last 2 minutes in these Uggs. And I have to remind myself of that this is not for the faint of heart. And it's not even that it's just that, I was in a physical altercation with someone who I thought was a friend, who then went on to lie and spread foolishness to the public. But it all took place on an international stage where everyone feels that they have license to speak on what I went through. And I signed up for that and I own that, but it doesn't make it any easier to have to go through and deal with.
So, we got to talk about at least just some of it, Candiace. I do.
Yes.
I do want to go back because I feel like a lot of this kind of started with this whole ex-friend of Monique's and her calling you. What did she call you for in the first place?
So Gigi is the friend, the ex-best friend. So when Gigi was introduced to me by the person who attacked me, she was her friend of 15 plus years. So in my mind, if this is your friend, your best friend of 15 plus years, then you're a friend of mine too. And I had invited Gigi and her husband to my Christmas party, as I did the Samuels and most of the other ladies as well. And she became someone that, I considered to be a friend because I was friends with her friend. So when she called me, there was two separate incidents. The first incident, she texted me to ask me for Sharice's number. I didn't ask any questions. I said, sure, here. I didn't think about it. There was no reason for me to assume foul play. I sent her the number because they had been friends. They had been, hanging out with their friend. And I didn't think two things about it. Here's the number, moved on with my life. Separately, I was driving to the hair salon and Gigi called me upset that her friend had blocked her and had broken up with her and said that they were no longer friends. In my mind, this is two best friends who are having a disagreement, a spat, and for whatever reason, Gigi thought that should be the person that she called to vent about that. So I talked to her for about 45 minutes or more, and she vented and she told me all kinds of things and how hurt she was and how upset she was. And I listened to her and I said, this is your friend of 15 years. You all can fix this. You can work it out. And she's saying, well, she's blocked me and I can't call her. I can't text her. I can't do anything. And I said, well, write her a letter, send it to her house, explain how you feel and explain what you meant and what you didn't mean. You all can fix it.
Right.
And and in that conversation, she did tell me a lot of crazy things that would later become the rumors that I was spreading. She told me all that stuff. And for me, those were musings of a hurt individual. I didn't take them seriously. I didn't even put them in my back pocket. I went home that night. Left the hair salon and went home that night. And I told Chris, Gigi called me. She was mad. She said A, B, C, and D. And it died there. It died right there. It wasn't until probably several months later that I found out from Gigi's friend that Gigi had called the entire neighborhood, though she'd called the whole hemisphere and told everybody these rumors about her friend. And at that time, I was asked to write a statement so that a cease and desist could be given to Gigi. And I wrote that statement for my former friend.
Wow.
And that was the end of it. And I didn't think about how Gigi would feel about the cease and desist. But for me, if Gigi is spreading lies and this person is telling me that they're not true, well, that's crazy. And if me writing a statement is going to help quell that and put that to the side, here's the statement, and we moved on from it.
Yeah.
So, but that's very insightful of you to see that is where the mess started.
Yeah.
In my mind, there's still a question as to where it started. I don't know where it started.
It seemed like it was that, and then it just all tumbled into everything else.
Yeah.
At least that's what it seems like from the outside looking in. I don't know about for you.
Well, as you're watching the season, you will see, we haven't finished the season yet, but you will see as the season continues on that there's never a mention of Gigi or the rumors or any of that. That never comes up. It only comes up after we have wrapped and there's been a lot of misinformation put out at the hands of the other party. And now they're grasping at straws and throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what's going to stick. And I think that was one of the things that maybe stuck for 5 minutes before it slid down in failure. So there's that.
Well, I feel like
Sorry, there are bugs. We had the door open and there are little gnats everywhere.
You got to get them out.
Get them out. Get them out here. Yes.
Well, I feel like also another kind of issue that clearly stemmed from that was Charisse coming around. Mm-hmm. So do you regret bringing Charisse around at all, knowing the amount of drama that it was going to cause now?
I do not regret bringing Charisse around because Charisse is my friend. She was invited to our wedding, my wedding to my husband. She couldn't make it. She was invited to our anniversary party because we invited everyone from the wedding to the anniversary party to celebrate our 1 year of marriage. Mm-hmm. Who I invite to my events is my business. Now, if Charisse had slept with Chris Samuels or had kidnapped one of the Samuels children or had stolen copious amounts of points from the Samuels bank account or set the bush in front of the Samuels home on fire or smashed the Samuels tire or, anything as egregious as those. Sure, I could see maybe me thinking twice before inviting her to my party. But there was no contention that was so great that I needed to consider a grown Black woman in a room with 100 other people and her feelings. There was nothing that struck me as I was clicking through my list to invite my friends to my event that said, oh, I need to consider this grown woman's feelings on something that I really didn't even know about. I didn't even know there was an issue that was so great. As far as I knew, the issues with Charisse and her ex-best friend stemmed from 2 years prior. And that stuff was stale and old. Charisse and I had issues 3 years prior. And you saw us on the bus and I was calling her a geriatric grandma and get out of my face. I was doing all that. And she was calling me a little girl. Like that all was 3 years prior. And we moved past that. I had been out in the streets hanging with Charisse, kikiing, eating, drinking, and being married. Of course she was invited. Charisse has been very, very supportive of me since we got over our issues. So of course I would invite her. And then I would also venture to say that 2 months prior to my anniversary party, Charisse was seen in a photograph standing next to this person, hugged up and kikied up. So if you are so beside yourself and distraught at her presence being in the room, where was all that energy 2 months prior? That's my question. Waiting for an answer. I'm waiting for an answer.
But it seems like, when I'm thinking about it, she probably didn't see, I don't know. I was going to try and rationalize something real quick, but then when I was saying it in my head, it didn't make sense. So never mind. But, I feel like, she was a big issue as far as Charisse. And then, you going on live, kind of addressing the rumor. Did you feel like you needed to go on live to address the rumor that was supposed to be on the show? Or why did you want to go on live?
So that live in question was me. At the time I was still doing lives after each episode. And I had made flyers, and all of the viewers and the fans knew that I would be on live every Sunday after the episode. It was called the We Don't Play in the P After Show. And I was on that live just talking about the show. A question from one of the audience members came through about these rumors, and I answered the question. So there was no, I don't do lives to address poppycock and foolishness. We reserve that for the people over there. I like to go on live to talk to the fans, to the viewers, and I was keying, and a question came in, I answered the question. I do regret that I answered the question on the live because it only created more confusion, and there was a better way to address that. I wish that I had just waited until the reunion to address everything that happened at the baby shower, everything that happened after the baby shower, because all it did was give this very sick person more ammunition to continue to try and make me the butt of all of her issues.
Yeah. Well, of course, the altercation ended up coming up during the season, and it kind of took over pretty much. But there are, of course, fans on your side, fans on her side. What do you say to the people who say that you provoked it by telling her to drag you and getting in her personal space?
Well, it's twofold. Number one, me quoting a woman who had threatened to beat me up in a previous season while carrying 8 months of human in her uterus is a problem. I do wish that I had taken her threat at that time more seriously. She was 8 months pregnant, walked into a conversation that had nothing to do with her, and began speaking to me. At no point did I threaten her or give her any reason to go to where she went in that conversation. When she was walking away, I told her, you need to go back over there with your friends. And she got upset that I said that. As she's being pulled away by Karen, I said to her, yes, you need to walk away. And don't start, I'll drag you pregnant and all. I'll hit you in the face with this bottle. Why? Why all of that energy? Over what? I don't understand that. So me quoting you being the fool that you are, trying to fight pregnant, is not provoking. If anything, you provoked me, pregnant, trying to fight me pregnant. And I don't know what they do, where she comes from, where she was raised, if she was raised at all, but we don't do that. We don't do that in Potomac. We don't do that in the DMV. We don't do that around here. We don't do that above ground. Maybe in hell they do that. We don't do that up here. So me quoting you, threatening to drag me, is not me provoking you. That's number one. Number two, we are a friend group on a reality television show that you all would not watch if there was not contention and drama.
That's true.
Every Housewives franchise is built on shade, gossip, mess, drama, and friendship. Just to on the top of that, just friendship on top of that, just a little sprinkle of friendship on top of that. No, a lot of us are friends. I am friends with several of the ladies in our group that I love dearly. But you don't watch solely for the friendship and the girls braiding each other's hair. You're not watching just for that reason. You're watching for the drama. And you've seen over the course of 14 years, all the drama that has gone down, all the drama that has ensued on these shows. You've seen women crack glasses on tables. You've seen women throw plates. You've seen women grab women by their hair and drag them across the room. You've seen all of that, okay? So to say that I have a mouth, which I do, and that I provoked her as reason for her to physically attack me and then run around the barn like a banshee and try to attack me again and then threaten to kill me, you all are fools. Everyone who is agreeing and defending what she did with Candiace talks too much is a fool. Because and I would prefer that they just say they don't like me, because to say instead that I deserved it because I run my mouth, then every one of you who've ever run your mouths also deserves to have your asses beat, right? That's what you're saying, but that's not how society works. That's not how civilized society works. You don't get to put your hands on people because you don't agree with what they are saying to you. And nothing that I said to her in those moments warranted what she did. Now, if I had been like, again, if I had slept with her husband or stole one of her kids or burned the bush in front of her house, then maybe I could say, okay, yeah, I was doing a whole lot, but I'm doing my job. This is my job here. And I'm sorry, my dryer is singing.
It's okay. Do you need to go get it?
No, it's going to stop momentarily.
Okay.
It stopped. Okay. I'm sorry. No, if I had done something so egregious,
right,
then maybe I could see her getting so upset that she tried to put her hands on me, or that she put her hands on me. But for me to simply be a verbal acrobat and use my words to speak on what I feel is her being fake and whatever I was saying, go to sleep, good night. You're never going to convince me that warrants physical violence. You're just not.
I'm wondering though now, now that we're kind of seeing some of the season play out, do you feel a little differently? Because we did see on the episode before last that she did meet with her pastor, and she did want to sit down and apologize to you. Candiace, tell me you feel a little differently, because it seemed genuine that she really did feel bad that she had really built up stuff and took it out. You are not going for it.
Well, I'm gonna give you some timeline intel here. Timeline intel. Okay, so yes, she did sit down with her pastor and have a conversation that was about 90 minutes, is what I was told, about the situation. She did do that. That was about around this time. That was about November. Well, no, November-ish, probably. Okay. About when that happened, November of 2019.
Okay.
If we go back just not very far in history and review everything that she did and said after November 2019, I'm having a hard time believing that anything that she said in that scene, because it was a scene that deserves an Emmy, I have a hard time believing that any of that was genuine. You claim that you are sorry and you want to apologize and whatever, but then you continue to spread lies and perpetuate lies that I threw glasses and wine and bottles at you, on you. You scratched my face out of the cast photo. You wrote me a song bragging about what you did. You're not sorry. What you saw in that scene was a stunt. That was damage control, because she knew that she was going to look crazy. I have no reason to believe that was genuine. And she will say that very day was the day that I pressed charges, and then there was no way that she could speak to me. Let's just say that that's true. I don't believe that it is, but let's just say that that's true. So after the charges were dropped, after she counterfiled for another stunt, she counterfiled just to muddy the waters, and the charges were dropped. Now you can speak to me, right? If you're sorry, and she's claimed for several weeks, months now that she's sorry, my number is the same. My husband's number is the same. I have the same address. You could have reached out to me and you didn't. Instead, you have continued to perpetuate this lie of what I did to you and adding more to it. It's because of this and because of that. It's because of her energy. And no, it's because of Cherise. And no, it's because of Gigi. It's because of fairy tales and fallacies and lions and witches and wardrobes. It's all lies.
Yeah.
And it just, at this point, it's laughable. And I'm sick of hearing from her. Just learn to be quiet is what she needs to do.
Well, she wasn't too quiet after Sunday's episode. She did send some tweets out basically saying, after the altercation, I think she said it was like 7 days after is when you filed the charges. But she also did say, and I'm wondering from you if this is true, that she did want to have a mediation sit down with her lawyer and then your side. Is that something that you were just not interested in at that point, or is that even true?
There was no request for mediation from my lawyer. The only request for mediation came when the prosecutor spoke to me after. So I gave my statement. That was one encounter with the court. And then I had to go in and answer questions about my statement. That was a month and some change later. At that time is when the prosecutor asked me if I wanted to engage in some sort of mediation with her. And my answer was no at that time, because why would I want to mediate with someone who not only physically attacked me, refused to apologize, said she wasn't remorseful, but also doubled and tripled down on spreading lies about what I had done, that I threw glasses and wine on her, and was underneath comments, and you see this on the episode, she's underneath comments affirming people who are cheering her on for physically attacking me. You're not sorry. You're trying to do damage control because you've embarrassed yourself and your husband.
Yeah.
And I don't want any parts of that.
Yeah, it sounded like at that point you were just over it. You didn't even want to kind of deal with that at all.
I was done.
Well, I mean, are you done kind of with the legal part of it? Are you trying to pursue anything further, or are you?
Well, there's nothing further to pursue. And even if there were, at this point, I'm so depleted with this whole ordeal. I want it to all just go away. I want to bury it, burn it, and be done with it.
Yeah. You know what, I'm kind of curious too. Have your husbands spoken? Because I know they had a friendship before all of this transpired.
Yes, they did. They did speak recently, very recently. And, what they talked about is their business.
Right.
But, they've tried in the past to intervene and sort of help us to work out issues that we had in previous seasons. And it worked. And they, it wasn't in an overbearing way, but just, hey, honey, let's try to work this out. And it did help. We didn't hear from the Samuels for over a year, almost a year. And so when Chris did reach out, what they talked about was about them and their business. It has no bearing on me. There's nothing that you can say to me at this point that's going to move me.
So you're okay, it sounds like, with them having a friendship and doing their own thing.
I wouldn't say I'm okay with it. I would say that I respect their conversation.
Okay.
And I will also say that my husband respects his wife and where I am right now. And he's not going to do anything to disrespect me or jeopardize my mental well-being.
I know that has to be tough for them to even have a friendship because it's like this big elephant in the room. It's like, can we really be friends like how we want to be when not only did our wives have just an argument, but this is like something that's been blown up to where legal got involved. So, I'm sure that's tough for them. I do want to ask you too about Karen, because it seemed like you feel like Karen was kind of taken aside. But do you think she was really taken aside, or was she kind of trying to balance the friendship between the two of you and staying kind of neutral and not making it feel like she was taken aside?
I don't know what Karen was doing, and I have retired from trying to figure it out. I don't think that Karen knows what Karen was doing. She had ulterior motives, and she didn't hide that very well. I expected more from her. I expected different from her. And when I say more and different, I don't mean to pick a side. I mean to declare definitively what is right and what is wrong, and to lump me in with what was done to me when we have all done what I have done. The verbal sparring and the carrying on, and Karen has engaged in that as well. We all have. Everyone on this platform has had a verbal spat or a contentious spat. So to say that what I did is just as wrong as what was done to me, I don't respect. And Karen knows that.
So it's safe to say y'all do not make up during the end of the season. You and Karen don't. Okay. Ashley, y'all started off so well too, and then I feel like last episode is kind of where that kind of started falling apart again, because of course she was speaking on the situation and she wasn't necessarily there for it. And although your husband was trying to calm you down, you and Ashley were just kind of going at it. So are you able to say, are you and Ashley in a little bit of a better space, or does it just go all downhill from there?
Who is Ashley in this
movie? Okay, so check those two off the list. Candiace, I hate that, because I feel like the thing started off so well and then it just...
Well, it looks like they did. But when you are dealing with people who only react to the cameras, I don't know how to say that. Ashley is not a genuine person.
Oh, wow.
She comes to work and she will do whatever she has to do to keep her check. And no one else is of any consequence. Wow. And that's what I've learned about that person. So, and those kinds of people are dangerous people.
So who are you actually cool with on the show? I know you said earlier you are cool with some of the women off camera. Who are you actually friends with on the show?
Everybody else.
Okay. Well, one of the main questions that I was getting from people that they have to know, especially my ladies, what was that glue that was on your hair, Candiace? And are you selling it yet? The ladies need to know.
Yeah, so I'm considering doing some sort of enterprising because yes, so many people have asked me about the glue and the wig and all of that. So I actually affixed my wig to my own head on that day. A lot of times I'll go get it done, but I did it myself that day. And it was a combination of a couple of different adhesives, but one of them was that got to be gel.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. Yeah. Got to be sponsorship, because that's the best promo they could have ever had. Literally, everybody is wanting to know about this glue, because all you had to do was just a little pat and you were done.
And it was ready to go. Yeah.
Well, what are some of the things, because like I said, I do kind of feel like this altercation kind of did hijack the show. What are some of the other things that we didn't necessarily get to see? Because I know at one point, you were talking about being scared of having children, or, your nerves when it comes to that. Where do you stand on that as far as right now?
Yeah, there was so much of the season that kind of got cut, or things that we had planned to do that were canceled. And that was one of them. There was a bigger project that was in the works around Candiace's baby journey. And we, as far as where I am now with it, the conversation is on the table. We are still talking daily about what it looks like, what it's going to feel like. I'm preparing my mind, body, and spirit for the possibility of carrying. I'm also considering what freezing my eggs would look like, what surrogacy would look like. All of those options are on the table. And it's a blessing that I'm even able to consider those options, because everybody doesn't have those options on the table. So we're talking about everything, and we'll see what's going to happen. If the Lord wants me to have a baby, honey, then he needs to just bring the baby to the door and just give it to me, okay?
When I tell you, I 100% feel you.
Okay, just bring the baby to the door. I'll take the child, Lord. Just put it in my hand. I'll take the baby, but it's not how it works, unfortunately. So we're talking about what that's going to look like for me.
Yeah. And I'm sure, we got to see like a small glimpse of, your music, and now you have the single now. I see you, and you're working. You say it could be a larger body of work in the works?
There will be a larger body of work in the works. My producer is actually texting me right now, probably getting on me about something I have to do. We are actively in the studio, recording, writing. So I'm shocked. I'm like still in shock that it's even coming together, but there will be a pretty sexy project coming out for the people. Like I said, hopefully by the top of the year.
Okay.
It's a good mix of R&B. There's some rock tones in there, a little bit of pop. Some collaborations happening. So it's really exciting, and it's crazy to even think about, but I'm working on music to give to the people.
That's amazing. And I mean, it sounds like you're super busy, because I know at the top of this interview, we talked about, your other projects that you have coming out as far as with Netflix. I'm really excited about this Christmas movie. I am like a Christmas movie fanatic. Like, I've been watching nothing but Christmas movies for 2 weeks.
Oh my God. Christmas is my favorite time of the year. I'm obsessed. Like, I want to decorate the house like right now. Like, I want to wrap the garland around the stairs and do the Christmas. I love Christmas. So when this project came to my door, I said, absolutely, I'm 100% on board. We are still not able to talk about all the details just yet, but it is going to be a really great representation of Black family. It's funny. There's a little bit of tragedy in there. It's got all the elements that you need for a feel-good Christmas movie that we all need right now, because let's face it, this year has been awful for everyone. So we need something that's just going to lighten the mood and put you back in the spirit of family and love and the holiday season. And that's what this film really does. So, and I can't believe still that I got to be a part of it, but I'm in there, honey. I'm in there.
Excited. So it sounds like you're trying to get more into this acting bag. It sounds like it.
Well, I am an actor, and I was an actor before I was a housewife.
Yes.
Now I get to use the platform to bring more light and shed light on that. So yes, the goal is to continue to use this platform to, get all the roles. My goal is I'm trying to be right there next to Kerry Washington.
Yes, Kerry. It's handled. It is handled.
It's handled. Like, listen, in the, it's not a white hat, but in the cream hat. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Candiace, you know what? I so appreciate you doing this interview. I mean, just as open and as honest as can be, which I expected nothing less, because I know exactly how you are. And I appreciate you, taking the time and kind of going through everything. Because like you said, there is a lot of confusion, a lot of questions that people have just about everything that's going on in the season. And I do want to wrap with, though, do you know when the reunion will be filming, or has it filmed already?
It is not filmed yet, but it will be filming very soon. Very soon.
what do you feel like the one thing is that you have to address during the reunion, or is there anything?
There isn't really one thing.
Okay.
I think the other party over there has done a great job of just putting everything out there for me and all of us to laugh at. So I'm really just there to observe and listen and probably laugh a lot because it's going to be a lot of circus clownery going on. This is the first reunion that I'm not exactly looking forward to because I know it's going to be emotional and dramatic. But it's a part of the job. It's what I signed up for. So I got to put on my big girl panties and do it. And so I'll be there, but it's going to be a lot. I'm
It's
sure.
gonna be one for the books for sure. We might have to do another little powwow after it's done.
Listen, call me. I will come back. I promise. Yes, I'll be right back with you.
Candiace, I appreciate you. Go knock out that music. I know your producer is texting you, but we'll definitely talk hopefully after the reunion. Hopefully some things will get cleared up, but good luck with everything, all your projects. We'll be looking forward to it. And thank you again for taking the time. I appreciate you.
Thank you. This was so fun. I appreciate you.